All, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss about the biological classification. In this session we'll discuss about the biological classification. The weightage will be 2 marks in the NEET exam. Sometimes it will be 1 mark also. So let's start. Biological classification. Biology means bio means life. Classification means it plays in one by one order. So classification of the living organisms, which includes it placed in an order, is known as biological classification. Let's see first, Aristotle itself was the first earliest attempt to the scientific basis for the classification. He used very simple terms like morphological characters, which means the external characters like trees, shrubs, and herbs. Trees are the large ones, and the shrubs are the middle ones, which means the height is from some extent, and herbs are very small plant. Like, he also divided the two animals into two groups, which means RBC and RBC and red blood cells and non-red blood cells. He stated the statement which extend only based on the plants and animals. Plants which includes trees, shrubs, and herbs, and the animals is two categories, which are red blood cells and non-red blood cells. Then after, Linnaeus came and he introduced the two kingdom classification. He introduced two kingdom classification, which includes same. He remodeled that Plantae and Animalia. Plantae and Animalia, which includes, he did not distinguish between the eukaryotics and prokaryotes. What's the difference between eukaryotics and prokaryotics? Eukaryotics are very simplest organisms, whereas the eukaryotics are very well developed and complex organism. In prokaryotics, nucleus is absent, whereas in eukaryotes, nucleus is present. And he also distinguished between about the unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. The plants which can prepare their own food in the presence of the light are known as photosynthetic organisms. So classified about the photosynthetic green algae, non-photosynthetic, which means photosynthetic pigments are absent. They are known as like fungi and all. So these two classifications are denied by many scientists. So later on another classification came out, which means nothing but the five kingdom classification. It was introduced by the five kingdom classification was introduced by the R.H. Whittaker. In this classification, it includes many sections, which like nature of the wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, method of reproduction, evolution, etc. So this classification system based on the living organisms undergoes several changes from the time to time. So it is the well accepted five kingdom classification till now. Here the table is given by the R.H. Whittaker, which includes the five kingdom classification, nothing but Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animal. I already said that this Monera comes under the prokaryotic cell, and remaining all are eukaryotic cells. So there is some difference between the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells nuclear membrane is not clearly visible and nucleus is absent, whereas in the eukaryote organism the nucleus is very well defined and DNA is present. So let's go through this table. Monera cell type, which means it is a prokaryotic, or I already said that it's the only one thing in prokaryotic, remaining all are eukaryotic cell. Cell wall is made up of non-cellulosic polysaccharides and amine. It is present in some, absent in fungi. Cell wall is made up of the chitin, and you already know this plant wall cell wall is made up of cellulose, and it is absent. And nucleus, already said that in prokaryotic cells nucleus is absent, remaining all eukaryotics it is present. And body organization, which is a simple type, it is like a cellular, and prokaryotic some of them are also includes the cellular type. Fungi is a multicellular organism, so it includes the loose tissues, and plant includes tissue and organ tissue. So Animalia is the highly well developed, so it includes tissue, organ and organ system is the advanced type of the body organization. Modes of reproduction. So modes of reproduction can be taken by the autotrophic, chemosynthetic, autotroph, photosynthetic and heterotrophic. Saprophyte. What are saprophytes? Saprophytes are which feed on the dead and decay organisms. Dead and the decay organism. Parasites means which develop on the depend or develop on the other organisms. Okay. And protista are the photosynthetic and heterotrophs means which depend on the other organisms for food and shelter. Autotrophs means they prepare their own food in the presence of the sunlight. Fungi are definitely a heterotrophic, saprophyte and parasites. Plantae are autotrophs which develop the process photosynthesis in the presence of the light and water. These are the heterotrophic, holozoic and saprophyte. R.H. Whitaker in 1969, he introduced a 5-kingdom classification which includes Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and Animalia. The main criteria for the classification means cell type, cell wall, nuclear membrane, modes of reproduction, phylogenetics. Phylogenetics means ancestor generation. Okay, another domain system is also proposed, which includes 3 domain system. It comes under the Monera, which means here you can see that the classification system includes the bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns and gymnosperms. Angiosperms comes under plant. The characters unified this, which means which comes and these are made up of the cell wall, and all these are comes under the plant, and they placed it in, it brought up together the prokaryotic bacteria and blue-green algae with other which are include the eukaryotic cells. And some of the examples are Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra kept under the algae. So all prokaryotic organisms are placed under the group Monera, and eucellular eukaryotic organisms placed under the Protista. Protista again brought up together Chlamydomonas and Chlorella placed in the algae, with Paramecium and Amoeba together placed in the animal which lack the cell wall. Let's go through the kingdom Monera. Already said that it is the prokaryotic cell. These are saprophytes, heterotrophic organism. Definitely includes bacteria. These are abundant, means lot of microorganisms can see anywhere, like hot springs, desert, snow, deep oceans, wherever it can, life can form, survive. So these have the different shapes based on the environment it is going to shape. Like can be divided into four types. Cocci means spherical type, rod shape means rod shape, comma shape, and spiral shape. Through the bacteria structure, it is a small organism, but it is very simple, but there are very complex in behavior. In behavior, it shows the very complex structures. We cannot tell what kind of exactly the. So bacteria is a group that most extensively metabolic diverse. Some of the bacteria are autotrophs, means which synthesize their own food in the presence of light. They perform the photosynthesis process, and some of them are heterotrophs, means which depend upon the dead and decaying or for the food in the shell. Archaebacteria. These bacteria are special in which live on the most harsh habitats, such as like extreme means very severe in salt areas, hot springs, and marshy areas. Which seen in the salt areas known as halophytes. It's seen in hot springs known as thermoacidophiles. In marshy areas, which it is known as methanogens. It can be asked like these are written in one column, these are written in column number 2. So in exam they can ask like matching what are these, and so have to go through these bracket ones also, what are these. And archaebacteria can be different in their structure and feature responsible in the higher condition. Methanogens are nothing but the present in the gut of the several ruminant animals such as cows, buffaloes. They are used for the production of biogas from the dung of these animals. In earlier days, they are used from the biogas to this process. Next, next, eubacteria. Eubacteria is nothing but eu means true bacteria, isn't it? It is true bacteria. Eubacteria is a true bacteria. It has the presence of the cell wall, flagella. Motile means it can be able to move, and this it includes the cyanobacteria, which is also known as the blue-green algae. It has the chlorophyll A and photosynthetic autotrophs. These are surrounded by the gelatinous sheet like this, which includes the mucilaginous sheet, and they are often forms the polluted water bodies. Some of them organism fix the nitrogen specialization called due to presence of the heterosis. They can perform the nitrogen fixation process. Example: nostoc and enamel. Chemosynthetic autotrophs are nothing but chemo means chemical, which comes from the chemical. It can utilize that chemicals and performs the like a process is known as which oxidizes the inorganic substances nitrates to nitrates, nitrates to ammonia, nitrites, nitrates to nitrites, and then ammonia. So these use it to use the release of the energy for the production of the ATP. So they play an important role in recycling nutrient like nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and iron. Recycling means it can able to perform and again nutrient cycle. Heterotrophic bacteria. Hetero means which depend on others for food and shelter. These are most abundant. Abundant means more in nature. The majority are important like decomposers. Many of them have significant impact on human. Helps in making like curd from milk, production of antibiotic. So bacteria in E. coli is a bacteria which present in the human bodies. So some bacteria useful for human welfare also, which includes Uh, Lactobacillus bacteria is used to turn the milk into curd. Antibiotic production of antibiotic is done by the process known as penicillin. Nitrogen fixation is legumes is done by the nostoc and anabaena. These are the important examples used to ask in the NEET exams. So these also can be asked through the matching wise. I'll write it on. They will ask the matching legs, match the following from the column 1 and column 2. So some of them are useful, some of the decomposes bacteria, some of them are useful, some of them are also pathogenic, causing damage to humans, animals, crops, farm animals, and etc. Like cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker are well-known disease caused by this bacteria. Bacteria is both harmful and also causes damages to both humans and animals and plants. So here bacteria reproduce mainly by fission. It is a prokaryotic cell and nucleus is absent. It is done by the fission. Sometimes under unfavorable conditions they produce the spores. They also reproduce by the sort of sexual reproduction by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to other. Here we can see that diagram. This is bacteria 1 and this is bacteria 2. It is cell wall. It is the second layer is cell membrane. So inside it is the form of the DNA. So due to this process, sexual reproduction is done by the transfer of the DNA. And another one is mycoplasm. It is also a smallest organism. Cell wall is it does not contain the cell wall. This is the smallest living organisms and cannot survive without oxygen. So many mycoplasms are pathogenic in plants and animals. Today this is all about the session regarding the bacteria, which includes 3 types, and 5 kingdom classification. Who proposed it? Where does it placed under the, based on the what feature it can be classified? Monera. It is all about 3 categories, which includes archaebacteria, eubacteria, mycoplasma. In next class we can learn about the protista. Thank you.